folks, welcome back to the channel. Happy Cat Crypto here. So, I have no doubt everybody's going to be asking the question, why is USTC pumping? So I thought I'd do a video just to kind of break it down really, what is going on. From what I believe, from what I can see, and from what I'm kind of building up the image in my own head right now. So, what has happened recently? Well, we've had a lot of talk about a USTC repeg. We've had a lot of talk about a USTN token. And there's just been a lot of general talk around the USTC kind of area. Now, Tobias, which is Zada, has put out his kind of white paper laying out his plan, and he's pretty much saying that he would like to follow the route of USTC. Now, Tobias is well known in the overall broader consensus of things inside Lunar Classic and outside Lunar Classic, and also inside of USTC, and it's obviously catching wind. And what we're obviously seeing is people are seeing it as a no-brainer. If I buy it now and then it gets repegged, I'm gonna, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11x my money or whatever. And then it seems like a bit of a no-brainer for a lot of people. But what I want to explain to you folks is tread very carefully with this coin, okay? Tread very, very, very carefully. There's many ins and outs to USTC currently, and one of those ins and outs, I believe, and I think is something that is going to need explaining from someone at Terra Rebels. I've no doubt if I get an AMA with Zardar, which I have no doubt I will pretty soon, that I will ask him, what is the plan if it does end up getting dragged into a court case? And Zardar, being himself, will always answer my questions, and regardless of being put on the spot, he will always answer them to the best of his ability from his point of view. So what I want you folks to be aware of is, for starters, the top 10 holders. Now, it has dropped down recently, which is pretty good, but the top 100 holders are still in control of 85.56% of the supply, according to CoinMarketCap. So we need to be aware, and we need to understand, okay, that this is like buying into Shiba Inu, because for every big pump there's a whale waiting to sell out their bag, ride it all the way down again, buy it again, and then ride it all the way up, and just keep rinsing and repeating that process. Now, this thing could just, crazier things than have happened recently than this coin shooting all the way back up and repegging itself. Could it repeg itself just from sheer FOMO and sheer people buying in? Yes, of course it could. Look at all the other coins that have gone to the moon because of the sheer FOMO involved in those coins. But can it hold the peg? No. Why would it not hold the peg? Well, because there's nothing to collateralize it at the top. As you can see right in front of us now, we're watching it push higher and higher and higher. And obviously it's got a long way to go to get to that dollar mark. But this in itself is so interesting to see that people will just ruthlessly buy something because they've heard a repeg plan's in order. A lot of these people probably don't know this isn't going to happen for like 2 to 3 years. It's going to be a long drawn out process, and there's quick ways of doing things, and then there's the correct way of doing things, in my opinion. Anything rushed normally has to go back. You have to go back, you've got to redo it. If you're going to do a job, don't do it twice, just do it once. Do it correct the first time, don't rush things. And this thing's really opening up. And like I said, if you've got a bag of USTC, you're likely going to be selling out on this pump. I mean, there's people right now who are swapping, their rewards out in Terra Station because they know they're going to get USTC rewards. If they then swap those rewards right now, they're probably going to be getting a lot more Lunar Classic than they would have when it was down here, so to speak, because the USTC is worth more as a face value. So very interesting to see this all kind of popping off, and that's really my explanation to it. I believe this is just pure FOMO. I can't see anything else driving this, and like I've stated, there's nothing to hold the peg once it does get there. It needs to be collateralized. It needs to be, audited and security audited to ensure that no one can attack the peg. No one can exploit an arbitrage opportunity and then rinse and repeat that process over and over and over again. And that was the issue we saw with the stablecoin tokens. And if you don't know what the stablecoin tokens are, if you just go to swap, you can see that all of these coins here are different, versions of USTC, and they're called stablecoins from what I've been made aware. Don't like the name, but obviously the person who made it, so to speak, so obviously they were named after him. Anyway, you've got all of these other coins on here, and these are literally like, even Orion Money has a coin. So do go out, do your own research. And I think, and you know me, I'm fully transparent, and this has always been an underlying issue in the back of my head, is that the tax rate is possibly too high. And I know there's loads of other people that feel the same. I know there's likely people working to possibly change it, which I have no doubt. And I think the viable thing for changing it and reducing it, not removing it, is to, help all these DApps out that are really struggling. I think a lot of the on-chain volume really is starting to show now that it's dwindling. And I think, as you can see, if someone put up a proposal and it was really well written, really well planned, and showed sufficient evidence to support a reduction in the tax rate, I think it's our duty as a community to take a good look at that, really discuss it as a community as to the pros and the cons of reducing the burn tax or keeping it as 1.2%, because the transactional volume doesn't lie. And as you all know, there is problems across the board. It's been spoken about in multiple Twitter spaces. So, reducing the burn tax could also lead to more transactional volume coming back, more transactions, and then ultimately burning more anyway, because the burn tax then would not be as heavy. But it seems that 1.2% is quite heavy. And I know there's an issue with validators. And if we keep losing validators out of the active set, right? If it's not profitable for validators and they can't cover their running costs, their nodes will just shut down. And the less nodes we have, the less secure we become. The more centralized this voting power is, okay, the more centralized we become, and the more, easier the system is to attack, so to speak. But we got new validators coming on board in less than 17 days, or I think it's 17 days, in fact. Yeah, look at that, look. 1 minute, 19 seconds until we're officially under the 17-day mark. So we're doing everything correctly our side, and the node will go up like 2 to 3 days before the launch window. So you'll be able to see it on the list. You just won't be able to delegate with us because we'll be an inactive node until that block is reached. Folks, stay safe out there, okay? None of this is financial advice. Beware of scammers, doppelgangers, anybody pretending to be me or the Happy Catty Crypto channel. And we'll catch you in the next one. Sure.